Hiya. So it's me again, and today we are back with another Champion Legion progression video. Today marks the 2-month mark of the Champion Legion progression series. Holy, what a mouthful. But it feels like in the span of those 2 months that a lot has happened. We got our Marksman to 275, and our Khali is a real character now. On top of everything else, we also have hit some big milestones this week. Today I can announce that we are officially on the board with Pitched Boss Set. I have actually equipped my first Pitched Boss item, which is awesome. I can also happily announce that my DB is finally a real character. But overall, this week was pretty laid back, just focusing on getting levels and making final preparations for the coming 5-10-15. And this 5-10-15 is going to be a big one, where in the best case scenario, I'll be able to solo Black Mage on my 3 strongest champions. Now, albeit they're going to be hard runs, they're not going to be very easy runs. But if I can get the runs done, then it's going to be absolutely massive for my account. It'll also be the most that I've ever spent on a single event in Hyperion. So without any hesitation, let's get into the beans and potatoes. On the right, you can see all of the plans that I have for the 5-10-15. Everything here is calculated based on the 75th percentile because I want to make sure that there is some level of consistency to my star forcing. Because I want to make sure that I do come out with at least close to the results that are listed here. The only way that this doesn't happen is if something goes horribly wrong, which obviously is still possible. So luck still needs to be on our side. So for our Khali, you can see that we have 4 items that we want to go up. I will now also just have to settle on the belt at 20 for now, as much as I want to go for 22. And it's going to be a little over 30 bill, which is not ideal. I want all 3 of them to be less than 30 bill, but these are all relatively high priority, so if I run out of money, then I am going to have to cut out one of the characters from the plan. But those 4 items for the Khali is not going to be enough, I don't think, to make the run relatively feasible or comfortable to clear Black Mage. But I do have a special ace up my sleeve, which I'll discuss later when I go over what the Khali has got. The Cannoneer, with all those improvements, will definitely be able to solo Black Mage. It might even be under a 40-minute run, which is good because that means that it's also set up for the Champion Legion Black Mage solo, which is awesome. The Slime Ring is easy pickings for the Cannoneer. It is just free gains because my Cannoneer still has an event ring that is basically just cubed for drop in its damage preset. So that Slime Ring alone is already going to be a huge damage increase. Black Bean Mark to 20 is also just free damage because it's a level 130 item. And then the rest is obviously going to be relatively expensive. And for the Marksman, we have the same thing, but kind of in reverse. The Twilight Mark is something that I don't have equipped on the Marksman. So getting that to 19 and getting a real potential on that would put the Marksman in a very solid spot. Besides that, the items that I'm starring on the Marksman and the Cannoneer are relatively the same. It's just with their current progress and what I'm aiming for, the costs are slightly different. But as you can see, the overall cost is slightly higher than what I'm expecting to get. I'm expecting to go into 5-10-15 with 90 bill, and the overall is 94.6. So it's definitely going to be a little tough. I don't know if we'll be able to accomplish everything. There's a very realistic degree of uncertainty, but all we can do is hope for the best and grind until then. So let's start with the star of the show as of late, the Khali. First of all, the Khali has a new fit, so my final damage is actually increased by 357% by that alone, because everybody knows that drip is the final form of endgame. But on a serious note, I am up by basically one whole level, and as of right now, this is my biggest concern when it comes to soloing Black Mage on this character. Being down just those few levels before getting on even footing makes you lose a lot of damage. So if I can get to at least 272 or 273 before I actually do the run, that'll be a huge improvement to my damage. Besides that, nothing has really changed on the Khali except for two major things. I'll start with number one. It's the Hexa Matrix. So after getting everything to 4, we finally got our origin to 6, and then we had to make a huge save up to get our mastery to level 20. And after getting the mastery to 20, of course, it dips back down again, so we're going to be on a steady train to leveling up reasonably again. Hexastat and everything else is still the same. And the second way that the Khali has changed is... Okay, yeah, we're missing a totem, first of all. Yeah, that's definitely one way that it's changed. But the most important way, besides just the totem being missing, is... the cursed yellow spellbook. We have gotten a drop from Hard Will on our third Hard Will solo. Literally anything. I'm fucking begging, man. Like, what is the loot for the past two? Like, seriously, there has to be some sort of retribution. Like a book, please. Please, a book. An arcane box. I'm not even asking for a book. Give me an arcane box. Give me a Twilight Mark. Where are the items? Please, man. Anything. This class was destined to be my main. What the fuck are we saying? What the fuck are we saying? Oh my god. No, this is what we've been bricking the past 2 weeks for. This is it. This is what we were bricking the past 2 weeks for. So worth it. Oh my god. Yellow spellbook, right? 20 luck. God, I have a spellbook! No way! Oh my god. Ah, the Khali's on the board. What are we saying, chat? The Khali is on the board. I just need to get a good flame on that guy. Oh my god. I'm telling you, bro, the game is giving me sign. It is literally my main. Like, it is literally my main, bro. I am a Khali main. Like, through and through, bro. This is undeniable evidence. Oh my god. Okay, this is kind of sad. Low-key. Getting an arcane weapon, but like... No, like, if this is what we bricked for, so fucking worth. So worth it. Oh my god. Oh my god. No way. And boy, was I absolutely stun-locked when I got this. I actually couldn't say a word for at least like 20 seconds. This is probably one of the best items to start with, at least when you get pitched. Because when you do get a pitch drop after the book, there is reason to start besides just, let's see if the item goes 22. Because you start getting the set effect. The 2 set effect, the 3 set effect, the 4 set effect, so on and so forth. It's a lot of damage besides just the item going to 22. Which is an extra reason for actually equipping those items, and it makes them a lot more valuable. The set effect for pitched is part of what makes pitched items so strong. Which is now basically my trump card for soloing Black Mage on this character. Because in my storage I have 2 black hearts. And considering that I basically don't have a heart on this character, I have a Lydium heart with 4% stat. And, you know, obviously it's only giving me 13 stat. If I equip a black heart, not only will I get the stats from the black heart itself, but I'll also get the 2 set effect. Which basically means that the black heart is going to be giving me almost 90 attack, definitely north of 80 attack, 40% boss, 30% IED, and almost 80 all stats, which is going to be a huge boost as I approach Black Mage, on top of the gains that I'm making from 5, 10, 15, which obviously includes getting a few items to 20 and 21, which is also a few hundred attack. Now, I was testing Black Mage recently on this character when I hit 270, and it was definitely very hard then, and that was with the event buffs from Tiernog. As of April 2nd, the event buffs will basically just return. We will get all the event buffs from Tanjiro. Now, I will say, when I tested my damage in Black Mage, I didn't get the 1.1x Arcane Force modifier, which means that there still is more room for this character on top of everything else that I just listed. That's another thing that's obviously very massive when doing Black Mage when your damage isn't too high. Now, sadly, I am losing the totems, so I'm probably gonna have to buy the guild totems after these expire on the 8th. Which luckily is after 5, 10, 15, so I can gather some money and just buy them back and pretend like nothing happened. It is sad that I am losing stat, but even with the totems lost, and even with everything that's changed, in my damage preset when I fix everything, I still am over 60 mil before activating my familiars, which is actually somewhat higher than before, just because of the fact that we got our CRAs to 21 and made small improvements like obviously the book and improving potentials here and there. Now, there is one extra concern that I have for the Khali, and it's the fact that I don't have a lot of slime rings, which means that I might have to safeguard this to get it to 21 within reason, which is a little scary. Granted, everything else should be reasonable though. Getting the superior ring to 20 should be fine with all the KTs that I have, and getting a Meister ring to 21 should also be okay because I have a huge amount of Grand Spell Essences, Twisted Times, and Primal Essences. So that should be fine, and of course belts are belts. I don't think I need to comment on the belts. But that's like the only concern I have for the Khali right now. Really hoping that this event doesn't go wrong, because it would be so awesome if we could get the solo on all 3 of the characters, because if I can push that, then it basically means that my income for both April and May will be up by 12.5 bill, which is absolutely massive. So I don't think I need to mention this again, but I will. For the past few weeks, we haven't touched the Cannoneer. He's been chilling. But next week, he will get a lot of improvements. So, as I was saying prior to this segment, the Eternal Flame Ring is something I still have equipped in my damage preset. It is right here, same ring, just not really doing anything for me, which is kind of a concern, which means that if we can replace this with a slime ring, we'll have 2 set Dawn, which will give this character an extra 10% boss, 10% attack. And this character has a lot of slime rings, so it will be relatively comfortable replacing this ring, getting it to 21. And of course, we're obviously going to make some moves on the pendants because, yeah, I think it's about time. I think it's about time that we make a move on the pendant, especially considering that we have 4 daybreaks as well. The Lord of the Rings is no more. We are now the Lord of the Pendants. Oh my god. It's actually crazy. This is a lot of pendants. Very, very uncommon. My Cannoneer did also hit a pap mark, which is really funny. Don't know what I'm gonna end up doing with this. That's gonna have to be a later me problem. But besides that, we're just gonna be working on accessories for the Cannoneer, the 2 pendants, the Black Bean mark, the Twilight mark, and the slime ring. Belt and earrings already done on this character. Hat, top, bottom are already good, so we're looking pretty good in that regard. And I'm kind of happy with where the CM is at already. Surprisingly, this is still one of my, if not my fastest clear of the week, which is very surprising because its combat power is not that much higher than the Khali or the Marksman's anymore. But I'm going to attribute that success to the Cont 4. I think the Cont 4, when you're soloing bosses, goes really insane. Especially for a class like Cannoneer, where a lot of your damage comes from your bossing skill, and a lot of your summons that are just doing damage over time. But, yeah, the Cannoneer, well, the Cannoneer also has a lot of Sacred Force, so that's probably also why, and good Hexa investment. But Cannoneer, after this event, assuming that it gets everything that it needs to get, is in a very good spot. If I were to make cuts from anything, it probably will be on this character. We'll probably shy away from tapping on the Twilight mark or the Black Bean mark and just go for the pendants and the ring, because we have the space to do so. Best case scenario, obviously, I can get Daybreaks instead of just tapping Dominators. Reason why I want to tap Daybreaks is obviously for more Dawn set. I have 4 boss set equipped right now, so if I swap it with Dawn instead, I'll be able to get the 3 set for Dawn, which is just an extra 10 attack and 10 all stat on top of the pendant's stats as it is. But yeah, Cannoneer, I'm kind of happy with my Cannoneer, which is kind of why I'm leaving it where it's at. We're just doing dailies, slowly building up symbols. We are actually finally making our way towards some levels. In a few weeks, we should have level 8s of these symbols swinging around, which means that this character is almost at 350, which means we're max damage against Kalos. Which also means that the last thing I have to worry about is just getting this character to 280. But once again, future me problems. And we're on Man of Mark variety. I am most concerned for this character. I'm gonna be honest. This character is the character that I'm most concerned for. I'm not gonna lie. I'm concerned for 2 main reasons. I don't know what it is, but the damage on this class generally just feels unremarkable. And I'm not saying that the class that's the class's fault. I feel like that's partially my fault. Because every time I play this class, I feel like I should be doing more damage, and I don't. And I'm also just not the best on Marksman. I struggle to understand this class's movement, and I find myself dying way more than I should, which is very concerning. Now, I will say, I did discover some tech in BM on this class, which is really funny. You can actually permanently pull his aggro with the anchor, which means that he'll never be too far to the right, so that'll probably make the run a little bit more comfortable, but oh man. I will say, now that the Marksman has gotten the 22 belt and the 22 earrings, he definitely feels a lot stronger than before. Those few stars actually made such a huge difference in his damage. And the Marksman is kind of in a spot where it's not really affected by events, so this character has no way to go down. Like, it's already at the floor. And this character has a lot of potential, right? 17 Kana's Treasure, very easy pickings for 21. 17 Gollux Ring, still got a unique potential. Slime Ring is still at 17. We obviously still have a drop Dominator, so if we can get Daybreaks on this character too. This character has a source, but I'm holding this for later. I want to actually finish my pendants before I start thinking about making the move upwards. Especially considering that this character doesn't really have any pitched equip. I could send both my Berserk and Source of Suffering, but it's just most likely going to be a money sink unless if both of them go, which is very unlikely. Which is why I'm kind of holding off for now. But yeah, like I was saying, the Marksman is kind of in the same boat as the Cannoneer. This is my damage preset, and I am using this as a damage item, and I have 4 Twilight Marks just sitting on this character. So even just a Twilight Mark to 19 with a reasonable 2-line potential will already beat out the red Bowman Meister symbol, because we'll get 2 Set Dawn, which will give me a whole bunch of stat and attack. Now I will say it is kind of sad because we are going to be losing the 5 set on the boss set, but it's not too big of a deal. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, definitely a little concern for my Marksman. If there is room to spend more money, I probably will by tapping the Arcanes to 18. The Marksman was fortunate enough to get a lot of Arcane spares, so if we have any room on top of the plan is going to be tapping the Arcanes and getting more attack here. Because even just the 18 star on Arcane equips is a good amount. 14 per star is actually very large. It's equivalent almost to a 20 plus star for a CRA item. Hey, look at that. This seems kind of new, right? Look at where my DV is at. So this is what I mean by the DB is finally a real character now. It is level 260, and we have finally unlocked the Hexamatrix Karma Blade. I'm not joking, I literally just got this yesterday after doing dailies that pushed us over the bar of 260, and we farmed out the 6 stones, which actually, yeah, just pretty much gave us a third of the bar. So this character is actually making its way to 261, but we are also more than halfway there to another 500 nodes, which is going to be the last 500 that I am going to drop on this character specifically. I do have some open slots. I probably will throw a special node or whatever's left, like Will Skill, for example. Yeah. Besides that, I mean, I have been using hard cubes on this character to try to push some potentials up, like the top and bottom, Dominator Pendant. The Cont 4 was obviously a huge pickup from last week, but we also now have a Cernium symbol, which of course will level in 2 days, but that alone giving us 500 stat is awesome. And we're making our way towards level 16 arcane symbols, which will not happen by the end of today, but we are close. And with these symbol levels, I will actually have enough to do hard will at 1.5x damage, which also goes for Chaos Gloom as well. And considering that we are level 260, our damage against a lot of the bosses in the Arcane River is much higher just because of the level modifier. Now, obviously still struggling a little bit against Dark now, but it's fine because our damage overall, especially now with 6 job, is going to be more than good enough. I think I might do the same thing going forward that I did with my Khali on this character, in the sense that I will do the 3,000 kills on this character to get the frags for him, and then just farm on my Khali. Of course, getting frags on a character that doesn't have drop rate is infinitely more valuable than getting frags on a character that already has so much drop rate that can farm, and that's getting the Angular Company fragments every single week, right? And considering that getting those fragments will make a very big difference for this character's damage, unlocking Azura's Anger is already huge because Azura's Anger is a huge part of our damage and it increases Phantom Blow damage. On top of, you know, getting Janus for this character, I really want Janus for this character. I want to see how this class farms with Janus because I feel like it'd be really funny. And of course, all the 5th jobs for this character are all really good besides like maybe Haunted Edge, but Haunted Edge is still roughly 5 to 7% of this character's total damage, which is very, very good. In terms of gear, like the DB hasn't changed much besides those few potentials, but the big gain here was the few levels that we got, the Sacred Symbol and the 6th job, obviously. So even though not much has changed, we still got a huge amount of power from the Dual Blade. One last thing I wanted to mention about the Dual Blade is this character actually managed to solo Hard Lotus before I got 6th job. It was a very funny solo, and I did record it and post it on my YouTube. If you want to check it out, I'll put a card up there. But yeah, another reason why I think the DB is actually kind of real now. Like he's capable of doing damage, and I'm very happy about this. Alright, so sadly there's gonna be no lightning round for this week. And that's because obviously we have to start thinking about leveling up our next character. And it's gonna be the Bowmaster. We're gonna be getting it to 260. Now, because my Khali is not 275 yet, we're kind of in an awkward situation where the trickle-down effect is kind of broken in the sense that my DB is done and it's 260 and it's ready to start training to 275, but my Khali is not done yet. It's not 275. And that part of the reason why that broke is because of how much XP I got on my Dual Blade, especially considering that I had those 5 mag growth potions to go instantly from 245 to 250. That helped a huge amount. We won't have it on this character, but the trickle effect is now going to be kind of weird where I'm going to have to be doing dailies on this, dailies on my Dual Blade, and dailies on the Khali for the XP. Well, the Dual Blade's not going to get the XP, but I still need to do the dailies on the Dual Blade, obviously, because of the arcane symbols. And then we're going to be doing the dailies on this for the XP. And, you know, Monster Park as well, the whole shebang. Now, that means that my daily schedule is going to be very loaded, which means that I will probably drop the Cannoneer for a little bit, just to shoehorn the Bowmaster's dailies in until the Khali is level 275, and then everything will kind of align again, where I do 2k on the 4 characters, you know, the dailies all the way up to Shangri-La, and then on my Dual Blade, I do the dailies for the XP and the 3000 for the fragments, and then I do dailies on the Bowmaster to get it to 260. And then, of course, right now we're just going to be parking our Buccaneer. He's going to be the last one going up. But that's kind of where we stand for now. Nothing has changed on the Bowmaster as of yet. But we definitely should start making preparations on the Bowmaster to start making it a lot stronger. And 2 ways that I'm doing that is, number 1, we finally got our Pinot secondary. And after 5, 10, 15, I'm thinking on Cube Sale, I'm going to make big moves on this character, the Dual Blade and the Buccaneer, in terms of getting its potentials up, because that'll help it get a lot of damage early. And second thing that I'm doing is, well, obviously doing bosses on this character. Pinot is obviously one of them, which means that we also got a KT as well. One thing that I also need to do is get totems on the other 3 champions. This is just a bunch of free stat. I do want to buy guild totems on all 3 of these characters because guild totems are just better than Afterlands totems, and it saves me the time of doing Afterlands. It's 1.5 bill for all 3 of the characters, so it will run me a little bit of money. But considering that the totems are better, it's worth it, and considering that it saves me the time is also another reason that it's worth it, because part of the money is just refunded by the fact that I can just go farm instead of having to do the quest lines. So yeah, we're getting ready on the Bowmaster. Soon enough this character will be real as well, just by process of dailies. And there's not really much to say about the Buccaneer because it's in the same spot as my Bowmaster. It has gotten a KT as well. This was last week though, I'm pretty sure. But it does also have a Princess No secondary, which is already better than my old secondary, which is nice. But same spot here. I do also need to get an event ring on this character, or potentially go Meister to fill in the slot, which is kind of annoying, but we can make do without a ring for now. Obviously, I can go for Treasure Hunter John's, but to me, I just don't even see it as worth the time because it's not even that significant of a damage difference, even just equipping that item in its entirety. But we do also have the legendary potential scroll from the Demon Slayer event, so I guess I might as well do that now. And we have the 200 cubes, so you know, who doesn't like content? We'll try to get some potential that has drop and stat for this item. 200 cubes is quite a lot for a single ring. And oh my god. That was a little close. The rings on my Bowmaster and my DB are already cubed, so that's why I'm okay with this. We could keep this, but you know what, let's just keep going. Get a little feel for the cube, see what's happening. That was quite a good potential to keep for how early this character is, but who knows. We could have gotten a hybrid right there, and that would have been massive for this character. And there it is again. The 20 drop, 9 strength. But who knows, maybe we can get 2 lines with 1 line of drop. Or a hybrid. 200 cubes, I might as well make the most of them. They are made for these rings specifically. I'm not going to stop and let 180 cubes just sit there and do nothing. I guess if I also hit 3 line strength, I might just stop. Since it's like okay for damage, at least for now, but let's hope that doesn't happen and I actually okay. And let's just hope that we hit like a hybrid or something funky here. There it is, the 9 drop or 20 drop, 9 strength. But once again, we have 150 cubes, so we might as well see where it leads us before we get too hasty with locking in a potential. You know, I will say my Buccaneer has been very lucky when it comes to cubing, so like, you never know. If that was strength, that would have been awesome. You know, that 36% head has got me feeling really good about this character's cubing. 9 strength and 20 meso. If we can push that up to 18, anything 18, whether it's meso or drop, would be huge, like actually huge. But you can see potentials like that are relatively common, which is why I'm rolling over it, at least for right now. 15 and 20 drop for int. Not quite what we're looking for. I don't want to be a smart Buccaneer. I want to be a strong Buccaneer. Oh. There it was. Drop rate on the second line again. It's crazy. Another swing and a miss there. 27 int, all good. You know, I gotta be smart and diligent before I become strong, you know? That's how this works. Okay, we're now starting to get a little lower on cubes, so maybe if we see something like that again, we'll stop. 15 for int and 20 drop. Dang. Int really do be hitting right now. That's crazy. 70 recovery. 18 HP and 20 drop. I'm not a demon of it. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Wonderful. This is exactly what we're looking for. So now, not only for right now do we get damage, but we also get 20 meso, which is absolutely massive. Perfect. That was a huge cubing session. It's even better than the Silver Blossom Ring, with I think the 9 set attached to it as well, which is just going to show how huge that potential alone is. On top of obviously the stats that the ring gives, but cool. Yeah, that's that'll be it for the Buccaneer. Pretty solid spot that it's in, but it's obviously going to be here for a while. Eventually we will start pushing it. And yeah, that'll pretty much be it. This, if you want to call it, was a filler week before all of the action starts going down next week. Next week will obviously leave a big impact on the future of my account. Because if I do get lucky, then I will be able to scale a lot faster. And if I don't, then I'm going to have to adjust my plan and how I spend going forward. Especially on the Marksman and the Khali, I probably will have to spend more on that. Because in May, my Cannoneer will liberate, so 100% for sure my Cannoneer can start soloing after May. 100%, if that's not the case. So the Marksman and the Khali are still a little still a little concerning, but hopefully we can get everything done. Hopefully we pull through, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and sub, or I will literally eat your mesos faster than Star Forcing does. And yeah, that'll be it. Until next week, peace out.